Hello, everybody, and welcome to PGS Treks. I am your host, Artem, and of course, we have with us today Julian. As always, Julian, how are you doing?
I am doing super. How about yourself, RM?
Yeah, I am doing great. It's been a little while. We haven't had a show since that huge finale of Picard season 3, Julian, which I just am really haven't even been able to wrap my head around. What an incredible story we got. It was just really, it felt life changing. Certainly did a lot, I think, for Star Trek, and just was such a treat, really very, very unique. But it's been a little while. I guess maybe it's been almost 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
You kind of
around there.
skipped a bit.
And as you guys know from New PGS Tracks, which is what Julian and I are doing, this is a recorded show, but we will still do PGS Tracks into perpetuity because there's so much to talk about when it comes to Star Trek. And Julian, one of the first things that I think is very interesting is that there does happen to be this writer's strike that's going on right now. It certainly is something that is on a lot of people's minds. You can't ignore the writer's strike. Um, but it seems like it's at a time that's kind of bad for a lot of shows. But from what I understand, um, Star Trek will not be affected by this writer's strike. Is that correct?
Um, I'm not. As far as I understand, I think season 5 of Discovery, which was their planned last season anyway, I believe that that's already done. So it's not going to affect season 5. I believe we can expect that Strange New Worlds, of course, is mostly already done because they've given us a trailer and we expect that to premiere June 15th, I believe it is.
Yes.
So I think that's it. Anything else was still, as far as the live action stuff was covered, was still in planning stages. So anything to do with the Academy show that was mentioned, was announced that that was the next live action thing that they were going to do. They're probably still in early production. They probably don't even have a writer's room together for that, if you ask me. Um, and the other live action thing was the Michelle Yeoh announced Section 31 movie, which became kind of a fait accompli after she won her Oscar. And so they kind of had to upgrade it from, I don't know, it probably helped them get a little bit more traction on that. They'd been trying to put something together for the Section 31 show for years, and I think the fact that they could go, look, we got a Academy Award winning actress who is interested in this character, and so they probably were able to finagle doing what I understand will probably be some sort of a streaming movie or something like that. But I don't know how. They probably weren't very far into writing on that either. So that could definitely have some repercussions. The strike could adversely affect those two shows, as far as we know.
Yeah, thank you, Julian. You knew a lot about it, actually, and which is not a surprise. So, as of right now, we're going to get that Strange New Worlds later this year, actually in a few weeks. In was it June that it's supposed to start?
June 15th, yes.
So that's coming up. So we will be seeing Star Trek shows that have already been recorded, as you said, and the ones that were in production, I guess, will pause for a little while. But hopefully, this writer's strike will not go on for too long. Everybody is talking about this writer's strike. Certainly, it's something to be concerned with, and it does kind of affect the entertainment industry across the board. But fortunately, we still have a lot of fun Star Trek to enjoy, and we don't have to worry about that right now. And thank goodness it didn't affect Picard season 3, which was so amazing, Julian. Now, Julian, you and I are in the process of covering different topics related to Star Trek, including books that we're interested in, because there are so many books written about with a Star Trek theme, written about Star Trek, different series, and we certainly do want to cover that here in PGS Treks. So you've chosen a book that you and I are going to start to review. I haven't started reviewing it or reading it, but you have chosen a book. Can you tell us the book that you've chosen, Julian?
Certainly, I can. I decided to go with. We have so many eras that we can choose from for reading the books, and I decided to go with First Love, TOS era, and it was a series of books that I hadn't read before, and this is Harbinger. Oh, where are we? Over this way. Harbinger by
Excellent.
David Mack, and it is the first book of the Star Trek Vanguard series. I first came across this when I was looking for something to read. I was at the Barnes & Noble, and I came across Agents of Influence, which is another TOS era book by Dayton Ward. And they come across characters from the Vanguard, takes place in that era, in that area also, has to do with Klingons and all sorts of stuff. Espionage with the Klingons and deep agents and all sorts of fun stuff. And I was so impressed with that book because it just gave me a real good flavor of that TOS flavor of writing and the sets and the costumes and everything. I was so able to picture, the sets and all sorts of stuff. So I decided to look up this series, the Vanguard series, and luckily it's got I think there's 9 books in it. Writing Legacy. Yeah, there's 9 books in the series. The first book came out in 2005, and they wrote the series through 2022. So we have a lot to look forward to if we want to read the whole series.
Yeah, it sounds amazing here on Goodreads. It's got a 3.94 out of 5 stars, which is a really high rating. It says, returning from its historic first voyage to the edge of the galaxy, the damaged USS Enterprise journeys through the Taurus Reach, a vast and little-known region of space in which a new star base has been unexpectedly established. Puzzled by the Federation's interest in an area so far from its borders and so near the xenophobic Tholian assembly, Captain James T. Kirk orders the Enterprise to put in for repairs at the new space station, Starbase 47, also known as Vanguard. So this sounds amazing, Julian. I can't wait to start reading this. And I think this is going to be an exciting book to go over with you. And for those of you who are interested as well, go ahead and pick up the book. We're going to be talking about the book. We'll do it live, but this is just kind of a recording to let you guys know it's coming up on PGS Treks. Julian, this book looks amazing. I can't wait to start reading this. And it is really incredible. I've never read a Star Trek book from the original series. So this is going to be a first for me. I've read a few of other series, but this is my first original series Star Trek book. So Vanguard, it says #1, Harbinger by David Mack. Now, David Mack has written a series. He's written the 9 books in this series. Julian?
I don't. So the way I understand it is, I think that a number of, I could be wrong. I haven't looked, but I think a number of authors have put books together for this series. So okay. I could be wrong. Maybe David Mack did all of them, but I think that it was kind of like it was a playground for them to put stories into, and several authors contributed stories to it, I think.
Well, it looks amazing. I'm sure this series is spectacular, given the rating that it's gotten. And also, I just love this. And I can't wait to get started on this book. I'm going to pick up, I might actually get the Kindle, because I do like to listen to it, because in a lot of these audio books, they have the music and stuff from the original series. They'll have prompts and sounds that you'll recognize, which is great. Sometimes they'll even have the theme music from it. So I do enjoy hearing that background. it is so much fun to experience that way as well. But certainly, I am also going to read the book um, too. So I'm looking forward to this, Julian. This is going to be something you and I have been talking about. Which series to cover. So, guys, if you're interested in following along when we do this Harbinger series, it's going to be so much fun for Julian and I to discuss what's going on in this book. And I think it's going to be, maybe the first book review on the Burnettwork. Certainly the first Star Trek book review on the Burnettwork. I don't think Robert has reviewed a book on here, although he talked about the Coda series a lot. But other than that, since he's read everything too, probably just like you, Julian, this might be the very first review for our Star Trek book series here on the Network. So that certainly is a milestone. I can't wait to start talking about this. You and I are still trying to figure out exactly when we will do the live show. So we'll see how that goes going forward. But it has been such a pleasure thinking about doing this because the adventures just continue with the books. And it is so wonderful to kind of go into that world of Star Trek again. We've had a few weeks away. Well, at least I've had a few weeks away. I haven't watched any of the series except for maybe a little bit of DS9, the end, like maybe the last season. But beyond that, I really haven't I've done much beyond that. But there is some other news that you and I have been talking about. Well, we've been talking about a lot of news, honestly. And a bunch of different stuff. What I was going to say is if you guys have been enjoying and want to hear more from Terry Metalis, he's going to be on a podcast. Whoops, that's an accident. He's going to be on a podcast where he's going to be talking more about season 3 and other things. It's the All Access Star Trek podcast. So, and I'll just show it up here. So, I've never listened to one of these before. Have you, Julian?
Which?
This
All Access?
Podcast?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, he's going to be on that as well, and you can listen to. I'm sure he's going to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the season. And people have a lot of questions. You can listen to it there if you go to the website here, which is where I was looking at trekmovie.com and a bunch of other websites as well. But you can hear him talk. This was from May 5th, just a few days ago. And it's a pretty good interview. So guys, if you want to check that out, you can. Something else that I've been thinking about in regards to Star Trek is the expectations for Strange New Worlds. Now, Julian, you have been talking to me about Strange New Worlds. You had said, hey, we've got to talk about Strange New Worlds. We saw this incredible trailer for it, and it was right around the time that Picard season 3 was on. And Julian, I couldn't even really concentrate on that because I was so deep into we were so deep into Picard season 3. It's impossible to look at anything else. So Strange New Worlds pumps out this trailer, and I couldn't even look at that. Like I was. How about you? I mean, it's impossible to think about anything else when we saw, honestly, Picard season 3. But you have seen the Strange New Worlds season 2 trailer. What did you think of it?
So I watched it the day it first came out, and I knew based on that trailer that Rob was going to have quite some spicy things to say about it. I actually just this weekend watched it for the second time just to kind of compare with an article I read about it. And so I have a couple of notes here about different things that we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see lots of we're going to see more of the James T. Kirk as portrayed by the actor Paul Wesley, who showed up in the first season of Strange New Worlds. And it seems like he's going to be on some adventures with Luan, the security officer, and that so we will see that. We're also going to be dealing with number 1, Una, who is going to be in some jeopardy because of her Illyrian genetic engineering. We also see right here is in this image right here, Spock with the Klingons And would noticeably that the Klingons look a lot more like they did from from the motion picture era through to Next Generation and beyond. And so that's very interesting. I see, they've changed their armor a bit, and so it looks different from how they do in Next Generation and the motion picture. But I mean, I kind of would have myself as a TOS, lover, I would have appreciated maybe an updating of the old Klingon outfits from the original series. That could have been some fun. I mean, they did in the first season we saw them do an update of the green wraparound, which was awesome. If I had the body to wear it, I would get me one of those because that was so much better looking than the one that Kirk wears. And also the Monster Maroon, they updated that one for that last episode, episode 10 of the first season. So that would have been kind of cool to see an updating of the original Klingon uniforms, but we'll see. Maybe they'll have something in there that will kind of pique my interest on that. But it looks also like we're going to get a new chief engineer played by Carol Kane, which is kind of very interesting. I mean, I've kind of been a fan of hers ever since she showed up in Taxi way, way a long time ago. And she'll be playing Palia, the new chief engineer. So also in that trailer, it looks like we're going to get more Gorn adventures, and I just have myself wondering how many times can we go back on the alien trope with the Gorn, because they've obviously decided to create the Gorns in the image of the aliens from the Alien movies. And then we also have some humor that kind of pokes fun at our original cast, at Kirk and Spock in particular. Luan makes fun of Kirk as he's coming through a revolving door, and he's having trouble with that, which seems to kind of make him look dumb. and then with Spock, there's the whole thing of him sitting in the con and giving the order for them to head on out, and they're kind of expecting some sort of a catchphrase. Are you going to say engage, or what's your hit it? What's your catchphrase? And he's like, I would like the ship to go now. So I sometimes I find myself thinking about, there's that catchphrase. What would Jesus do? Well, what would Leonard Nimoy do? How would he have played that role for Spock? I don't know if he would have done it like that, but I am still interested in seeing what adventures they have. It plays kind of fast and loose, but I do enjoy the show for the most part. So looking forward to it.
I think you pointed out a lot of very good stuff that we're in store for. I hope it's strange. I hope it gets stranger. I want it to be strange, although maybe that's too much of an expectation in 2023. It's as strange as it's going to be. But I don't know whether we're going to get another Love Boat season. At least that's what I call That's what I call it. The Love Boat season. Season 1 of Strange New Worlds was like the Love Boat, and I think we got a whole lot of loving in that in that season. Certainly, as I mentioned before, that peekaboo moment. Well, it wasn't fully peekaboo, but it was, the captain, and he had a little rendezvous. But there were also some other kind of funny things that happened. I mean, maybe some even comic relief. Who knows what they have in store for us going forward in there. I can kind of see, you can see Spock at the helm there. But yeah, it certainly looks cheerful, Julian. It looks cheerful. It looks very chummy. I didn't see any pictures of the captain in his apron with, in front of the stove with a glass of wine, pouring a glass of wine for me. But I have a feeling that's still gonna be around. At least I hope so. Certainly, we want to see the charm on this one. But yeah, let's see what happens with Strange New Worlds. A lot of expectations for me. I want to see how the character development is for these characters in season 2. And of course, is the captain going to get these scary visions again, Julian? You know, it's like he looks in a mirror. It's like, ooh, look at a reflection. Oh, you know, like, is he going to be still shocked every time he sees it? Or is he just going to be like, yeah, you're not going to scare me. I've seen my reflection and it doesn't look cool. All right. What do you think?
You know what? I would appreciate if they address it quickly. He could, you know, either talking to someone he can unburden himself on, or just himself, or something, and that he makes that decision. It's like, look, this is going to happen. I've decided that this is my fate, and I'm going to let it happen. And until that happens, I'm just going to live my life. I'm just going to do what I got to do. And actually, he's kind of got a get out of jail free card until that happens. You know, he kind of, it's like, I know that this is supposed to happen, so I might as well make the decisions I'm going to make and not worry about what's going to happen to me. So
yeah, and you know, this infamous rotating door segment, it does kind of feel like it's something out of an episode of Love Actually or something like that. I don't know, some kind of romantic comedy. I'm not quite sure what to make of it, but you know, I don't know. We'll see how these little machinations play out. Hopefully it ends up with something very funny and enjoyable to watch. But that's June 15th, guys. There is the captain there. He looks rather serious. He himself is wondering if this is going to be a Strange New Worlds where we do see the strangeness, that level is pushed a little bit further than we were last season. Hopefully it is. And I am looking forward to it. I will watch it because Anson Mount is in it. So that is a given, regardless of what happens. But yeah, I'm really curious as to where it's going to go this season, Julian. So it is very funny when we talk about this. Now, the other thing that I thought was very interesting has to do with the fact that there is a Star Trek game that's coming out on May 23rd. And the game is called Star Trek Resurgence. Are you familiar with this game, Julian?
I'm not. I know that you are very much into a lot of the online games, and so I don't find a lot of time to and don't actually have the equipment to get into playing some of this stuff. It's just not part of my fandom, I guess you'd call it. So I haven't. I know when a lot like the online stuff came out, and I was like, oh, it's kind of cool, but I've just never been that huge of a game player. So as far as games online go, but I'm interested. It's very interesting. I've always, when I've gone to do cosplay stuff, it's always very interesting to see the plethora of costumes, you know, that come out for that are based on the online gaming environment. So that's kind of cool. I have to
Yeah, it is
appreciate it.
cool. It's incredibly cool, Julian. And this is going to be. I actually have 2 Star Trek games, but I have not played. I think I played one, and it was a computer game, and I was not able to get it to work as smoothly as I needed in order to enjoy the game. And I'll find that game and report back to you guys later about which game it was. But this game, I think it is available on the PC, but it's also available on a PlayStation 5. And that's where I'm going to be playing it. If the release date this is an old report, but the release date is May 23rd. And here they're saying that Star Trek Resurgence is a Dramatic Labs game. I believe it also uses Unreal Engine, but they announced the game arrives May 23rd on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox XS, Xbox One, and PC. So it's about a year too late. It's from the Telltale developers who did the famous Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us. The Walking Dead Telltale series was a very successful video game that came out. So I am looking forward to it. Something that I did want to mention, and here's just some screenshots of it. of course, we're going to be seeing some incredible graphics, Julian, in this game. I can't remember what the main characters, what it is supposed to be. Let me
Does that look kind of like Sylvester Stallone playing a Vulcan?
Yes. It might be Sylvester Stallone playing this Vulcan, who knows? But I did just want to show some of the bits of the game here. We can see some gameplay here. And maybe just some brief shots of it. Obviously, that is Spock. And that might be the main character. I'm not sure. But I did want to mention something else, Julian, is that a character from the Next Generation is going to be in the game as well. Let me see if I can find the article. It's going to be Jonathan Frakes.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to be great. He's going to be one of the characters. I don't know how long he'll be in the game for, but they did mention that he's in it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who knew he was in it. I didn't know he would be in it, reprising his role as Captain Riker in it. So I'll just share the screen again so you can see here. I think that's going to be so cool. A much younger Riker, of course.
Yeah.
And he's returning as Captain Riker for the game. It's going to be very interesting. Strategy is not my strong point, but I'm looking forward to it. As they say, they are ramping up the release for this. And today, on May 1st, they made an announcement regarding this. Riker is on board Resurgence, the new interactive game set in the Next Generation era, 1 year after Star Trek Nemesis. And today it was revealed one of the characters will interact is Will Riker. Just coming off the widely acclaimed run in the third season of Star Trek Picard, he returns to the role again, voicing the Captain Riker for Resurgence. So that's exciting. There he is. And it's going to be exciting. There is a game synopsis. I'm not reading the game synopsis. I want to be surprised. That is something else that I was going to mention about myself. When I play these video games, I like to be surprised. So I don't want to find out all the details about the video game yet. I like to play it and go, oh, so it's kind of fun. Like you're playing and you're like, I didn't know that was going to be in there. Although I know Riker's going to be in there. It's a Next Generation game, so I would expect him to be there. But it's going to be a lot of fun, Julian. And anybody who, maybe Julian, you have one of those consoles, anybody who wants to play, I go ahead and encourage you all to play. I'm going to be live streaming it here on the channel, on the Burnettwork. I'm also going to live stream it on my channel, Positive Fandom, at the same time. But Julian, I'm so looking forward to the Star Trek game. If you told me I'd be playing a Star Trek game this year, I would have been like, really? So so I'm going to be playing it, and I'm just excited for that as well, Julian. It's just something else. It's immersive that's come out that is so exciting, Julian. So I really am excited for that going forward too. Now, Julian, I know you mentioned Star Trek Online. There's a new Star Trek Online story, at least from what I understand. Now, are you familiar with the Star Trek Online games? You did mention it. It says that they launched a new. It says Star Trek Online Unraveled launches next week with a new multiverse story. So that's something else for other people who are. I don't play Star Trek Online, although some of the Burnettwork members, actually many of the Burnettwork members, do play Star Trek Online, and that's also getting, excuse me, an additional story. Looks amazing, Julian. Star Trek Online Unraveled next week with a new multiverse story. Literally next week. This is May 2nd. After concluding the Mirror Universe arc earlier this year, Online is set to begin a new multiverse story arc, Get Unraveled. You can purchase it. And here's the synopsis of that. So let me just take a quick look at that one because it's so much fun to kind of look at this stuff. I don't want us to get struck down by copyright, but that looks awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail that goes into these games. I don't play them, but I appreciate them. I know from watching like Trek Yards on YouTube that there's an awful lot. They're really into ship design, and they always are hot to discover the different ships that are going on in this game. A lot of them play it and have you can, if I'm remembering the right games correctly, you can create your own starships in the environment, and so that's kind of very interesting to see. Also, I don't have the time to if I was to immerse myself into that. I made a discovery a long time ago that it would be too easy to get, bogged down in all of this, immersed in it, and to the sake of other stuff that needs to be done. So I just decided I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to do that, and so I haven't gotten involved with these, but certainly. Yes, here we have the 1701F, and I know that a lot of people that play the game were happy at what happened to the F in Picard season 3. So it's kind of, they get very involved with their ships.
Well said, Julian. I just figured I'd zoom in on that a little bit because I know there was. Look at that! Wow.
Yeah.
That looks great. And of course, this is obviously the scene where I guess they speed out. Okay. I had to do that. I had to just show that part. But it is a lot of fun, Julian, to kind of see these games come to fruition and look at different things like that. So for those of you who are playing Star Trek Online, it looks like it's going to be amazing. Now, another story that came out was this story about behind the scene tours of the Enterprise D bridge from Star Trek Picard with designers and the TNG cast. I haven't read this one, Julian. I'm just going to pop it up here. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. This looks amazing, Julian. It looks amazing. Look at this. So it says you can watch these behind the scene tours with designers and TNG cast here. More behind the scene details from the 3rd season of Star Trek Picard have been released, including a couple of videos offering a closer look at the bridge of the USS Enterprise D recreated for the final episodes, and some Borg concept art here. So it says, obviously, restoring a classic. VR tour with Okuda and Wheaton, it says, and they just released it. It's a 40-minute video. That's a good long time, Julian.
Oh, that is. I saw the shorter version of Mike Okuda and Will Wheaton going onto the bridge and looking around, and Will Wheaton can be a little annoying sometimes to me, only in how sometimes he seems a little smarmy when he's doing his interviews on the Ready Room.
Yeah.
But I still really appreciate him as an actor and all the stuff that he's done, with the gaming and his other roles just beyond, Star Trek. But I love the fact that he has had that opportunity. I love the fact that the Next Generation cast is still such a family. So many years later, they still are a group that, talks together all the time and gets together all the time. I love that. And I can't, when he was on that bridge, I couldn't help but feel emotional the same way he was getting emotional. It was really cool.
Absolutely, Julian. And this is obviously the 5-minute video you're talking about, or maybe one of them. It was great to see this. It is nice that they are still in contact with one another and are very close. It's just so wonderful to get even more behind the scenes here, which is great. I think people can't get enough of this season. And I think for many years to come, there's going to be even more and more footage, even more and more things added to this. I still am looking for those leather coats.
Yeah, all I can find are like pleather vinyl, attempts at them, and I'm kind of loath to trust those sites with them because they seem like they could be kind of like fly by night, places. So
definitely. But I definitely have to get you and I have to get those leather jackets. I don't care how I get them.
they're
Um,
awesome.
they are amazing. I mean, if they would open that up for availability, they would immediately sell out. You could see the different ones. I like the full black ones, the open ones, a naturally open jacket, and then the ones with the like the yellow mustard color on the shoulders look
Uh-huh.
amazing. It really is wonderful styling for the crew. Very updated, modern look to
Yeah.
because of course they would be wearing leather. Um, of course they would be wearing leather, and you can just see the joy on the bridge there. So for those of you who want to see even more Star Trek from Picard and highlights, you should check out that video, as you said, Julian.
Well, I'm definitely going to be getting the costume top, the tunic top from Picard 3. The redoing of the tunic top is that they wore on Titan. It's an awesome design, and I'm definitely going to get that for cosplay. I'll probably wear it at Comic-Con at least 1 or 2 days.
Hey, and you and I are going to be at Comic-Con this year. It's going to be in July, San Diego Comic-Con we're talking about, and this is May. So it's about 2 months away or so, or maybe a month and a half, whatever that is. Actually, maybe it is exactly 2 months. Let's see, May, June, July. Yeah, maybe 2 months or
Very
so.
close. Yeah, the 20th of July.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that. We certainly will be there. I will be seeing you there. Your family will be there. A group of us from the PGS will be there at San Diego Comic-Con this year. So that is certainly something that I had thought about. It would be cool to wear something like that there. And of course, wow, that would be wonderful. I had ordered an outfit for Star Wars Celebration. I didn't get it in time. I only just got it now. But if I had it for Star Wars Celebration, I would have been wearing that outfit. So I've got to really look and see if I can find some of those things from Picard season 3. Maybe they have them available. I know you're talking about the quality. I would pay money for a quality replica uniform. If anybody knows who's making them now, if they're available, we will pay money for that gladly, for a well-made, really cool-looking Picard season 3 uniform. So I'm looking forward to getting something like that, Julian. And one of the other stories was about William Shatner, which I figured I'd just bring up because I thought it was interesting. It has to do with this mission control. It's a summer celebrity reality series. He's probably been planning this for a while, but it's the first I've heard of it. And of course,
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay. So I'm not the only one going in this, but it looks amazing. William Shatner is set for mission control for a Fox Summer Celebrity reality series, Stars on Mars. Certainly, he got a lot closer to Mars than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And he does look great there. At 92, he shows no signs of slowing down. And we have the latest here. This is a reality show, a competition, and it debuts June 5th. Gee, that's literally around the corner, with Shatner serving as mission control. The show puts a group of celebrities into a simulation of Mars where they will compete to become the final celebranaut. Okay, this is definitely different from what I thought.
Oh my gosh.
And let me just, I'm sorry, close that out. You can hear it.
This summer, Fox is sending 12 brave celebrities on a mission to save humanity.
Oh my God.
This is wonderful.
Who will survive?
To any celebrities out there, don't try this at home.
I just pause it because if I play it straight through,
Yeah.
It's only 31 seconds. So
Mission Control, Stars on Mars, launching Monday, June 5th on Fox.
All right.
Julian, it's unbelievable. Of course, Shatner's so charismatic. He could honestly make a success out of anything. But this is very funny. I wonder if he's the only one who's actually even been into space. out of the list of celebrities. But this is cute. It's fun. I think it kind of promotes being in space and the idea of being in mission control. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's not meant maybe to even be taken too seriously, but it is something to think about, Julian, a reality show of going to Mars. Would you even have expected anything like this, especially with Shatner being the mission control person?
I'm not surprised. I think it's actually kind of a great fit, and it's perfect timing actually with the writer's strike happening. Remember the last time we had a major writer's strike, a lot of the unscripted reality shows just boomed, and some of them have stayed with us, and some of them have bit the dust. But this one looks like they are releasing it just in the nick of time, I think. Because you go into that summer season also, a lot of the shows that would have been going into, there's short hiatuses between, episodes. And here we go, here's this unscripted reality show type of thing showing up, which it's kind of funny. It's like they are kind of scripted if you, you think about it. Producers are trying to throw, some sort of thing in there to get it to look interesting, but I'm curious. I would kind of watch this. Yeah.
William Shatner is Mission Control. Stars on Mars. Launching Monday, June 5th.
There was a period in my life when I certainly watched Survivor on a regular basis. I can't say much for a lot of the other ones.
Well, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to watch it, and just to see honestly what's happening with this series. I think it is really just going to be fun. It's probably not meant to be taken too seriously, Julian, and that's okay. It's okay to just have fun with things like this. I think it's great to have fun and enjoy it, and if it's going to be with William Shatner, why not? But I was going to ask, do you have anything else you think that we should talk about in this PGS Treks episode, Julian, that's on your mind about Trek? Anything at all before we wrap up the show?
Well, we've covered an awful lot, and you sent quite a list of things that we could perhaps take a look at. Yes. Real quick, I think something that really got a lot of traction, especially at the end of Picard, was the OTOY videos that came out. This is the animation group that is working with a lot of design people who worked on Trek originally. We got Michael and Denise Okuda, and Doug Drexler and Darren Doctorman. A lot of these guys are helping put together. They are assembling high fidelity, 1-to-1 resolution virtual sets, essentially, from Star Trek. And what they've assembled so far are all of the bridges. That is the major focus, is all of the bridges of the various Enterprise models. And they are in. This is part of the Roddenberry archive that they've been, putting this stuff together. My understanding, if I'm reading this correctly, is that eventually they're going to have whole entire ships that will be available for, I guess, subscribers to be able to go on board the ships and walk and look at any portion of the ship in very high fidelity resolution. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of exciting that they're doing this. They keep on talking about sets, and I don't know if this is a combination of something that they'll have so they can be used for virtual, perhaps in the way that the eventually the way that the set technology that they're using for Mandalorian with Star Wars, all that kind of stuff. Perhaps that's the thought, is that they could end up using these sets in the same type of manner for filming. It's really cool. And one of the things that they showed us was that regeneration. Was that it? Which was a quick little shot of them tied in with the Picard season 3, and it showed them lifting, getting ready to lift the primary saucer section of Enterprise D off of Veridian 3. And we see Spock go there to retrieve Kirk's body. And it was all virtual. Except, so there is an actor who's playing Spock, and he is using prosthesis, mostly, makeup prosthesis, to look. They found it in this guy. He looks almost exactly, and just with the prosthesis and everything, he looks incredibly like Spock. And they found another actress who looks incredibly like Yeoman Colt from the Cage and Menagerie episodes of Star Trek. And it's just incredible. They're using them kind of as a link between these different periods of the Enterprise bridge as they're filming them, just to show how you could interact live action with these sets. It's kind of amazing. So I'm impressed to see how far this is going. I still am not clear if one is going to be able to just do it solely through their computer, or if it requires like a 3D headset, virtual reality type of thing to do. So that'll be interesting to find out. But this is definitely something I'm going to have to take a look at. It reminds me, though, the last time our family went to the Star Trek Las Vegas convention was in 2018, and there was a company there. I don't think it was this company, but they were trying to do a kind of virtual Starfleet museum thing that kind of combined early Star Trek filming lore as well as early Trek, Federation Starfleet lore. And you put on the headset and had these paddles in your hands, and you walked through and could pick up things. And it was very interesting, but it was definitely not in the type of resolution and fidelity that we are seeing from OTOY. So,
yeah, absolutely, Julian. It is very exciting to see that kind of expertise at our fingertips now, something all of us have always wanted to be able to utilize. And I have a feeling we're going to see very many of us on the bridges in a more interactive way. The last thing I was going to say is this incredibly, unusually insane video, which I sent to you. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
You knew I had to share this. This is what I'm going to close with, is this Balenciaga Star Trek thing, which I can't help myself.
These are the voyages of the starship Balenciaga. Its 5-year mission to
I mean,
so I cannot figure out what the heck is actually going on here. Is it like is this a commercial?
it's a computer-generated AI commercial of Star Trek advertising Balenciaga fashions from the 1990s.
Okay. All right. So it's a combination type of thing, and it's an AI generated, and I got it now. So yeah, it was very interesting.
New looks.
Damn it, Jim. I'm a Balenciaga model, not a doctor.
It's just too funny. And so what you can do, you can actually create it. And the guy who did it, I have to find the video, but he shows you how he did it. But it is so much fun to see these. There's one for Star Wars, but the Star Trek one is the one that I saw, and I really enjoyed it. I just kind of like their interpretation of a lot of the Star Trek characters.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is the original series, but then you have you even have the alien. You remember the alien?
That's a racy uhura.
Yeah. And this is, of course, have to stop it for a second, but here.
Yes, Balenciaga. I know this brand. Greatest Russian fashion inventor, Balenciaga.
It's this is so much fun.
I'd almost take this Gorn over the Gorn from Strange New Worlds.
Well, Strange New Worlds, it's got a little Strange New Worlds feel. I'm sure there's a video for Strange New Worlds, but it probably
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that it looked like they'd done one with the Next Generation in the same vein, but it wasn't Balenciaga. It was a different company, I thought. Or maybe it is the same.
Wait, okay, let's look at this one.
Oh, yeah,
Guiding
Next
principle
Generation.
on which Starfleet is based. And if you can't find it within yourself to stand up and wear Balenciaga, you don't deserve to be at this fashion show.
That looks awesome.
They even made the Borg look chic. I've never seen anything like this. Look at these looks. It's very 1990s. It is actually supposed to be a 1990s fashion show, but look at Riker. I mean, it's just so cool.
So you know what's strange about that one? That's supposed to be Riker, but he almost looks, in that earlier shot, he looks more like Carl Urban.
Yes, it's gonna be interpretations of the characters.
Yeah.
Data, obviously.
Sensors show life forms aboard, but I am unable to ascertain whether they're dripping in Balenciaga.
And they even make the Borg, like there's a part where they focus is like a giant character. They even make the Borg look chic. Like that's chic Borg.
Well, yeah. Look at the shoulder stuff. Nice.
It's all meant for fun,
Yeah.
I think
I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing that they did that. I was looking to see if there's a Strange New Worlds one, but if they did Strange New Worlds, it would just look like Strange New Worlds because that's what Strange New Worlds looks like to me. So I don't think it would look any different than what we normally see on Strange New Worlds. I think if you punched in Strange New Worlds Balenciaga, it would just be literally Strange New Worlds. It wouldn't be any different from any new commercial. They just kind of appear a little bit more rigid or something, but just these kind of fun things that we're seeing. While it is true that AI may be the death of a lot of us, it certainly was fun to see something like that, Julian, something creative and enjoyable. And one thing I should mention, and everybody already knows this, but when Star Trek first started the original series, it was a very fashionable series. It was the 1960s, and the hairstyles to the clothing. I mean, it was very 1960s and, very fashionable, on point. So I think it is really interesting. Why not go ahead and make a top-notch fashion Paris runway version of Star Trek? It would be very interesting. Of course, we did see some fantastic fashions in Picard season 3, so I am going to say that. But this is the perfect type of thing to think of going forward. But just to have some fun with it. So, Julie, is there anything else you want to mention on PGS Treks for this episode that we have not mentioned?
Well, we talked at the beginning about Picard season 3, and I thought we might want to, finish up with that by talking about, the impact that season of the series made on a lot of people. It just was huge. There was so much online traction as far as people appreciating it. So much so that there's been, petitions trying to get Paramount to put forth some sort of effort to continue doing that in 25th century legacy type of storylines. So one of the articles I read said as of April 26th they had 32,000 signatures on that petition, which had already surpassed the petition which showed up after Pike made his appearance on Discovery in season 2. Of course, we know that everybody was elated when Strange New Worlds was announced and when it came out. But there was some noticeable differences between what happened with Legacy, or is happening with Legacy, and what happened with Strange New Worlds and the Pike series. And notably is that even before Discovery season 2 was coming out, Akiva Goldsman, the producer of Strange New Worlds, was advocating for a Pike series. This is even before Pike showed up on Discovery. So he was already making a case to try and do that show, and so he was kind of primed and ready when the outpouring of interest in Pike and an early Enterprise showed up. So he kind of had that to his advantage. And the other thing is that, you know, budgets have been tight at a lot of the streamers, and so particularly with Paramount, they're having to look particularly hard at their budgets right now. And so for what we know, you know, Strange New Worlds and this Academy show will be the only live action shows going forward, with Discovery closing out with its 5th season. So them having made that decision to do the Academy show has kind of put the ixnay on any legacy show in the immediate future, for sure. And I know a lot of people are going to be a little disappointed with that. Particularly, you know, when you have to ask yourself why an Academy show, and an Academy show has been something that's been on the lips of producers at Trek since before Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan came out. When they were trying to decide what kind of a show they were going to do after the motion picture came out, and they had decided to do a show, the Academy show was one of those ideas, and particularly because the idea was they could do something where they could bring in a younger, unknown cast to play early roles of the cast that we knew, the roles that we knew, the characters that we knew. And they wouldn't be that expensive. They wouldn't have to pay the high dollar cost for these stars that they would have had to pay for. So it's always been there, but you have to ask the question, why are we telling this story? Is it, you find yourself, it's the Burnett axiom, you know, never put your universe or your characters before your story. If they have good stories to tell that teach us more about, you know, the things that we want to learn, that explore life in that galaxy and or in that time, in that place, that impact us as humans, then so be it. But if they just, you know, have an idea of, we want to put these stars in this show, or we want to just set it at this place without any idea of the stories that we're telling, then you have to ask yourself, why are we telling these stories? I mean, you know, even with Legacy, I had to ask myself, you know, sure, it'd be really cool to see a continuation of these characters as the Enterprise G goes on into explore more things in the galaxy. But what stories are there what are the important themes? That's one of the things that made season 3 work so well, is the unification of the themes that Terry Matalas wanted to tell, and how he told them, and how they reinforced each episode through the season. They reinforced each other all the time, which made it a tight-knit show. If you don't have that idea of where you're going with your episodes, with your shows, then you're just kind of like treading water. So I hope that, you know, with this Academy show that they want to do, that they come up with decent stories, or else there's no reason to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Julian. I made a short about Legacy and wanting more Star Trek, and we're ready. We're ready for Legacy. This seems to be the clear next step that should be in production right now, not just after the response, but after they realized what a hit they had with Picard season 3. So it's the natural course of events. We've all talked about passing the torch. Here's bunch of ne'er-do-wells and rule breakers from obviously they gave a ship to a bunch of ne'er-do-wells and rule breakers. Of course they did. Why not Legacy? This is what everybody seems to want so badly. And this signing of the petition certainly is something that a bunch of people are doing, these sort of art art forms and different art for a future show, which technically speaking right now, we don't know what's going to happen, but boy, I'm praying, Julian, that that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Here is something, a vision of there's a vision of Starfleet's ongoing mission, and one that continues the story from Picard and into a bold new frontier. We have a ship, we have a captain and our crew, and now all we need is you. Tell the universe you want legacy.
I don't believe we can stop. I don't believe we're meant future.
Oops, it stopped.
Yeah, it's
Each of 1,000 choices.
But this is just maybe
it's
just
most it's the logo. It's that, and it's a lot of quotes. It's a lot of from the different actors, different characters. So it certainly it would be. But again, what are the stories that they would want to tell? I have to ask myself about the same thing with Section 31. What kind of stories need to be told through that mechanism of storytelling that are going to be impactful?
Yeah, and they also mentioned how the production has been completely shut down. Although I think that if they crowdfunded this between you, myself, and the millions of other fans, we could make this happen. So I don't think they have to worry about the production being shut down or any of that stuff. I think they talk about working on a more limited budget. Don't you worry. I have a feeling that people would step up and make this work. We could make it so happen so easily. But it is something to think about, Julian. It's something that fans responded to incredibly strong. The greatest response, even stronger than Strange New Worlds, as you said. And I'm one of those people. I completely agree. We can only pray to the stars, Julian. We can only pray to the stars.
I like that idea of crowdfunding. Maybe that is something that these studios and these streaming networks, they should maybe look at that. You have this outpouring from the fan base saying this is what we want to see, and they're complaining about not having enough money to put these things together. And it's like, well, it's like they could come out to the fans and say, put your money where your mouth is. If this is what you want to do, then start put this money. This will go directly towards this production, only this production. I think, God, that's a damn good idea. I think they should do that. It's like, we need X amount for each episode type of a thing. This is what our projected budget would be. It's like they could build off of the sets that they already have existing and just build out from that. Part of the problem they mentioned in the article is that the sets are, here in LA, because that's where that's where Patrick Stewart said, I'm not going anywhere else. We're staying here in LA to film. That made it an expensive show. That's why Strange New Worlds and Discovery have been filming in Canada. But so there is talk of, they would have to move everything to Canada to film there because it would be cheaper. I was like, well, no, because now you're going to talk about an additional expense, and actors who may not want to be heading out to Canada, they may not be available to head off to Canada to film and spend all their time up there. You've got the sets here already. You've got most of the actors here already. It's like, the problem is, of course, now there's a writer's strike, so you don't even have somebody who can come together and start, pitching stories or ideas for what a season would look like.
Let's be honest about this, Julian. Do you suspect that maybe a season for Legacy has already been written, or a concept or a pitch has already been conceptualized, put together, presented even?
I don't. I don't. I think we were lucky to get what we got. And the fact that Terry was already involved with working on season 2 of Picard, the fact that the main producers of the show didn't want to continue on And here he was, he's like, well, I've got this idea. What's, and I've got people who are interested in doing it. And he was able to convince the right people. They had to do that. They'd already decided to do it back to back. Season 2 and 3, filmed back to back. He had those shows, he was writing those shows within a very, very tight framework. And that's how they were able to get that stuff together in such a close frame of time. I don't think that they went on and continued working on anything else, because I just don't see it. I don't see. I don't see that our producers in charge right now were thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right, that's interesting. I wasn't quite sure. I know sometimes a little bit more is written, or concepts are created, and I just
I love it. I would love it if they did, and I know that Terry has been asked these questions, and I know that he, especially regarding Todd Stashwick and the character of Ian Shaw, and I know that he has mentioned that he's had several ideas on how to bring him back if the story warranted it, and that's kind of exciting. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he sat down and hashed out a bunch of scripts.
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, like what I was suggesting with Ro, we didn't get a lot of her. We got an episode, but we wanted more. And I said she did a whole investigation. It's saved on her earring. There could be thousands of hours of Ro on that earring, talking, just all sorts of stuff on there. It's true, right, Julian?
Well, yes, it's true. In the story, in the universe framework, yes, it's true. There's all sorts of stuff on there. The thing is, how do you build a story around that investigation? And is it necessary? That's the point. I mean, what she did for the story was there for the story, and it forwarded the story, and she did it beautifully, and it was awesome the way that they included her in there, and were able to bring together those story ends from Next Generation with her and Picard. It seems almost like perhaps something like that is something that would be better served in some sort of a novel form. If somebody was to write a story regarding that, where somebody going over all that information comes up with, additional information, instead of the quick wrap up we have at the end of that series where it's all, we were able to use the transporters to remove the genetic information that was causing them to turn board. So be it. Okay, we're all good. All right. But
to think about, Julian, and it is wonderful to be able to talk about Trek again, and just all the things that are going on. There's a lot going on. I think it's a good time to be a Star Trek fan. I'm excited for what the rest of the year is going to bring. We had such a stellar first quarter of Trek, if you will. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the next 3 quarters will be as equally exciting. So, Julian, where can people find you?
They can find me right here on the Burnettwork when we are doing PGS Treks, and they can find me on Facebook, and that is where I am from time to time. Julian Mushkin at Facebook. You can find me there.
All right. And guys, of course, you can find me on Positive Fandom, my YouTube channel, as well as on the Burnettwork. Reach out to us at any time. This is PGS Treks. I'm your host, Art, my co-host, Julian M. We are so grateful that you are watching this show with us. And thank you for tuning in. Of course, everybody, live long and prosper. And guys, always remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, always remember to please be kind. Take care, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.